Welcome to the Horse Talk Show. Have you ever seen a horse who could talk? With your host, Louisa Barton, who really wants to be a famous rider. She really loves to ride fast. Presented by Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care.
Truth is, I have horses with people problems.
Now here's the Brit on the bit, Louisa Barton. Enjoy the show.
Looking for hay that's a cut above the rest? From field to feeder, Larson Hay delivers top quality, nutrient-packed hay your horses and livestock will love. And with the Larson family leading the way, you know every bale is made with integrity and care. Larson Hay weighs every bale so you can be confident that you're getting what you're paying for. No gimmicks and no small print, just the best hay you could ever feed your horses. Don't settle for just any bale, choose the cream of the crop since 1883. Visit larsonhay.com today, Idaho's finest alfalfa. The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital. Thank you for joining us on the Horse Talk Show presented by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms, they're our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancin Rodda.
And he's back in the hot seat.
I'm back.
And we have a great lineup for you. Instead of a veterinarian this week, we have Clayton Wilber from Florida Farrier Service, and we are going to talk about angles and also listening to your horse.
Wow.
Good one. I know you're going to like
That's
both,
a good angle.
It is rather, isn't it? We also have Hall of Fame turf writer who we've chatted to about the Run for the Roses, the two most exciting minutes in sports. He always has great insight. And then we have a chat with Floss Bish-Jones from the Longines Global Champions Tours, who we got a chance to talk to a month or so ago, and Abbey Slaven interviewed her, and this is episode 2 in that series. So hopefully you'll enjoy all of that. It's a lot of variety, and of course you can always tune in on Equus Television Network several times a day with 6.1 million viewers, and you can also tune in on Saturday morning on 97.3 The Sky if you like to listen while you're doing your barn chores on Saturday morning.
That's what I like doing.
I know, right? I have so many people tell me
I get to hear myself.
They feed with our voices in their pocket.
There you go.
That's good. Okay, that works. Hey, it's nearly Derby time. We've got a little promo here. We're excited to invite you to tune in to the local Ocala Marion County Connections special Horse Talk Show broadcast coming up on Facebook at The Horse Talk Show and also on the Equus Television Network several times a day. We'll be bringing you all the excitement of the Derby and the way so many of the horses in the starting gate of both the Oaks and the Derby have so many connections right here to our local farms. Don't miss this special additional broadcast. Thank you to our sponsors for making this additional Horse Talk Show broadcast possible. Presenting sponsors, Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care and Larson Farms. And our supporting sponsors, Piranha Animal Health, Seminole Feed Stores, the CEP's Equine Initiative, and Ocala Dog Ranch. So you should be tuning in on Facebook at the Horse Talk Show and also the CEP's Equine Initiative page and on Equus Television all week long because you can learn about all the local connections to the Kentucky Derby. This is the 151st running, and as usual, Ocala, Marion County and a little bit beyond is extremely well represented.
14?
15.
15. Woo!
So I'm going to talk a little bit about these horses for a minute. So if you're watching, you can actually look at them up on the screen. The interesting one is Sandman. Sandman is interesting for a number of reasons. One, because he's just a really cool looking horse.
He's grey.
He's grey. Yeah, but he's really, he's a very pretty horse. He's a pretty grey. I don't think all greys are pretty. Well, I mean, they are, but, you know, he's particularly pretty. So Sandman has a cool name, first of all. Sandman started his training with Tom McLaughlin in Ocala. So this is where he was first saddled and worked and went through the OBS sale, Ocala Breeder Sales, and is now trained by Ocala's Mark Cassie, who's in the Hall of Fame twice, once in Canada and once in America. And we call him Ocala's Mark Cassie because he has a training center here and he's been here since he was about 3. And his father was very big part of the start of OBS and everything here. So
Wow.
as far as thoroughbreds go. So that one's got lots of great connections. He's also got a part owner whose name is Griffin Johnson, who you can find under LM Griff Johnson on Instagram, who has 2.6 million followers, and he is posting every day on Instagram from Churchill Downs, hanging out with his horse. And he did the ice bucket challenge with him. The horse's legs were in an ice bucket, and Griffin got in an ice bucket, rather him than me. And this is an effort to get younger folks interested in horse racing, and he is doing a great job on Instagram with this. He's got thousands of people loving his posts.
You're gonna try to find him, and
Of course.
of course.
Naturally. Must do. Owen Almighty is a grad of the iconic Ocala Stud. You know, lots of people go and stand under that sign and point up at it and get that picture taken.
I don't have to do that.
Just comes naturally, right?
That's right.
Neoquos, who I fortunately interviewed Helen Barbizon from Pleasant Acres about before he got in, because I had this aspiration that he was going to get in. And then Built scratched out and Neoquos went in. So he's a Florida bred. He's the only Florida bred in the race. He was born at Pleasant Acres Stallions in Williston, just north of
So
Ocala.
we're rooting for him.
We got to root for him. He's a Florida bred. He also trained for a while at Abbey Road in Citra. So he's got another connection there. And he's a pretty cool horse, actually. I like him quite a bit. So I would say, hey, look at that one. Rodriguez and Citizen Bull both trained with Eddie Woods at Eddie Woods Stables in Ocala. Of course, Eddie Woods is retiring, but he is such a great trainer, does such a good job with
So now we got to root for them because this is his last one.
Right.
You're making this hard on me.
I know, I do make it very, very difficult. I do. American Promise, I
here we
love because that horse trained in Fort McCoy, just up the road from where I live, at Woodside Ranch with Brian Rice. That horse is gorgeous. Wow. When that horse came off the trailer, woof, beautiful. All muscle, really, really nicely put together. That horse actually spent at least 7 or 8 months eating Seminole feed, because that's what they feed. And he looks like he ate Seminole feed. He looks good. Journalism is owned in part by Bridlewood Farm. That's actually the farm owners that own more land in the United States than anybody else. Grande started with Lucan Bloodstock, that's Carl Keegan. Burnham Square and East Avenue both have connections to Bridlewood also, partly owned by them. And then Render Judgment is pretty cool. So Kenny McPeak won the Kentucky Derby last year with Mystic Dan. And this horse just got in because another horse that is out, it replaced. So Render Judgment just got into the race and started his training at Kenny McPeak's stable in Summerfield with Dominic Brennan, who is the general manager and trainer down there. But the really interesting part about this horse is that he's owned by Toby Keith.
Toby Keith,
Yes,
oh.
who, rest in peace, passed away. But before he passed away, his dream was that one day he would own a horse that would make it into the Derby.
Wow.
So maybe there'll be some special angels on the wings of this horse. So anyway, we've got to wrap it up. We've got lots more to tell you, so stay tuned till the last segment because we've still got to talk about the Oaks horses and some other things that are coming up that are exciting. So stay with us. We're going to come right back with Clayton from Florida Farrier Service. Thank you to the presenting sponsor of the first half of the Horse Talk Show, Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. And our television broadcast sponsor is Larson Farms. Also, thank you to our supporting sponsors, DAC Vitamins and Minerals, Seminole Feed Stores, Piranha Animal Health, Pat Myers Electric, Florida HVAC Services, Ocala Dog Ranch, Wide Automotive, and Reach Video Production. This show is brought to you in part by DAC Vitamins and Minerals of Florida. All horses need a solid immune system, excellent joint support, a healthy gut, and DAC has all the vitamins and minerals they need with the NASC stamp of approval. So like them on Facebook now or go to feeddac.com. DAC, it makes a world of difference. Looking for high-quality fencing solutions? Equifence of Florida delivers security, functionality, and style to enhance your property's value. Specializing in agricultural, horse, residential, and commercial fencing, plus land clearing, grading, and more. With top-notch craftsmanship, innovative design, and exceptional customer service, Equifence is your trusted partner. Whether it's for business or home, we've got you covered. Equifence of Florida, where design makes all the difference. Call today. Equine Therapy International offers state-of-the-art equipment to enhance your horse's performance, fitness, strength, and rehabilitation with hand-picked and proven range of products, including PEMF and massage therapy rugs, leg wraps, boots, pads, and lasers, equine water treadmills, cold salt water spas, combi floors, dry treadmills, solariums, nebulizers, and more. For more information, go to equinetherapyint.com or find them on social media. Repair, perform, and recover with Equine Therapy International. At Florida HVAC Services, air conditioning is a mathematical process. There's no guessing in what size unit your home needs. Florida HVAC Services uses manual J-heat load calculations in diagnosing to guarantee your home is sized properly to control humidity and temperature, thus providing comfort all year round. With flat rate pricing, trained experts, and total peace of mind. For more information, go to flhvacservices.com. They are the air you breathe. The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hi, this is Hall of Fame jockey Mike Smith. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the Horse Talk Show, presented by Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. Thank you to Larson Farms, our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancin Pete Rodda.
And we have Clayton Wilber from Florida Farrier Service here with us. Clayton, thank you for being back with us.
You're very welcome.
Thank you for babysitting Frosty for me so well. You and Terry do such a great job with him. He looks fantastic when he came home, just great.
It was pretty easy. He don't eat much.
I know, it's true. He likes his little vacation place though with you down there.
My granddaughter petted on him a lot, and
she's a sweet little girl, and he's a cute little pony, so they look good together. Mm-hmm. So Florida Farrier Service is an incredible facility. We have come down there and sat in on some of your classes that are extensive and seen your students extremely engaged, kind of in the classroom setting, learning so much. I mean, there is so much that you can learn. It's extensive, it's lifelong. And then just seeing you in action, being able to see you, veterinarians, Dancing Pete does some farrier work as well. So these topics are interesting. But I want to start really with the listening to your horse, and then we're going to talk about angles as well.
Okay. I mean, to me, that's most important. As practitioners, veterinarians, farriers, your trainers, your grooms, you are the biggest advocate for your horse, without a doubt. There's no way anyone can say, and I think my favorite is, well, ask my trainer. Well, at the end of the day, the horse belongs to you, and you should make that with the help of your trainer that you hire that knows more than you to help you make those decisions. Well, and the other side of it is, for example, a lot of times these horses will go into training, performance training, and they'll go, oh, well, it's behavioral. He needs more work. He needs this. He needs that. Well, for example, this horse could have bad angles behind. He could be backsore. This horse won't engage, so now he's trying to bolt. He's bucking. He's doing things like this. Well, when you get an animal that hasn't done that before, he didn't come untrained,
right?
And when you have, I believe, when you have high-end performance horses, such as CDI dressage horses, jumpers, national finals rodeo horses, race horses, these horses don't become what they are by not liking what they're doing. So all of a sudden, this horse is doing great. The dressage horse went to the Olympics, the event horse, and or this race horse ended up at the Kentucky Derby. To all of a sudden go, you know what? I'm just going to try to kill everybody around.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to take an opportunity here to do a shout out for Megan Vanosky at MV Equestrian. She's been exercising my Mustang for some time now for me and keeping him going because I have not had time. And she got on him today, came out of the field fine, everything was normal, looked normal. She groomed, saddled up, went to ride him. When she went into a jog, she felt just a little something was a little off. She thought might be a stifle. She wasn't sure. Maybe he slipped last night. It rained really hard. Maybe he slipped. But she got off, unsaddled, bathed him, gave him some Banamine, put him in the field, asked Anne to keep an eye on him. She said, I'm not going to risk it. I'm not going to ride him because something is just not exactly right. And hats off to her that she's that mindful and she notices that something is a little odd.
Absolutely.
And that's important. And what you just said, listen to your horse. Let's jump over to angles because we were just talking about this. A lot of people don't understand. And let's start with what's the difference between palmer and plantar?
Okay, palmar angles are referred to the front feet. Plantar angles are referred to hind limb angles. So a lot of times, you know, you get told to tell your farrier, oh, fix the plantar angles, but you don't understand what the plantar angles are.
Right.
You know what palmar angles are. So what they are, they're both the same. Plantar angles refer to as hind feet, palmar angles refer to as fronts. And this kind of goes hand in hand with listening to your horse, a part of it, because, you know, your horse starts bucking all of a sudden, or not engaging, or not working till his full potential, and, you know, the trainer's going, his back sore, you know, this is that, and well, we do the liniment thing, we put them on the Banamine, we do everything, and it's just kind of not going away. You know, and a lot of times your vet will look at the problem and just kind of not look down, you know, because as farriers, we look down. As veterinarians, they look up. You know, and it's taken me a long time as a farrier to look up at what's going on and what's going on with the animal, other than to go, oh man, you know, his feet look pretty decent. And then I started radiographing a lot of horses. And I'm like, and then I started understanding about the myofascial tension that is created by these negative angles. You know, for example, you know, this one right here is a very, very, very acute case that you're seeing on there now.
So before you get too into it, define palmar angle for us, because a lot of listeners are going, what is he talking about with
palmar angle, plantar angle? Well, what you're referring to is, if you look at that, you can see the frog in the bottom of the coffin bone where your plantar cushion comes down through. If you see, that falls lower in the back of that than it does the tip of the coffin bone. Okay. And then, and every horse is different. You know, we have a rule of thumb of 2 to 5 degrees, whatever. Hind feet is a little bit touchier. But the biggest thing is we need to align the bony column, which you should have a straight line down the face of that bone all the way through. And then when you recreate that, because you have that alignment, doesn't mean your palmar or plantar angle's fixed. Because now you have structures, a lot of times on these acute cases, structures will fail. And then your plantar will start to drop and create pull on soft tissues.
Right.
So when that happens, that creates pressure. And, you know, the biggest, you know, Dan Pete and I were talking earlier, we shoe around soft tissues. Well, if we're doing our job and our palmar angles and our plantar angles are correct, and our balance front to back and side to side is correct, we're shoeing for soft tissue problems. We're preventing them, you know. And here's how small of a window it is. When you get involved in this, if you do everything right, I read a deal on it about 10, 15 years ago. If everything is correct, you decrease the chances of a performance horse getting injured by 15%.
That's a lot. That's more than I thought it was.
by 15%. That's doing everything 100% correct. So they only have a 15%. That, to me, that's small. I feel that's small. I figured it'd be up around 25. But so you think about where those chances go if it's not right, you know, and you know, you go right on to, you get negative angles, and this horse is always changing. Once again, listen to your horse about it. Your saddle fit is not staying true, you know, because he's sore here today and he's sore there tomorrow, and your saddle fitter loves you because they're coming and spending a bunch of money fitting the saddle.
That's right.
You know?
We have only got 1 minute and 17 seconds left, so I very quickly just want to, Florida Farrier Service has classes, and we want to get that mention out there that they can go to floridafarrierservice.com to get information on those classes. I really would like people to learn as much as they can. We're all about that. And then the other thing I wanted to do,
That's my mechanic.
that's my mechanic, I wanted to give Clayton a free oil change at Wider Automotive because I thought, wow, he'd like that, because we know with big trucks, that
Thank
matters.
you. Those are expensive.
Yes. Clayton, Florida Farrier Service, check them out, learn more. Thank you for being with us. We're going to come right back with Steve Haskin. Stay with us.
Thank you to the presenting sponsor of the first half of the Horse Talk Show, Peterson Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care. And our television broadcast sponsor is Larson Farms. Also, thank you to our supporting sponsors, DAC Vitamins and Minerals, Seminole Feed Stores, Piranha Animal Health, Pat Myers Electric, Florida HVAC Services, Ocala Dog Ranch, Wide Automotive, and Reach Video Production.
This show is brought to you in part by Seminole Feed Stores, family owned since 1934. Manufacturing fixed formula horse feeds with mindful monitoring and quality ingredients right here in Ocala in an all-natural, non-medicated feed mill. Seminole Feed, simply the world's best and safest feed. Like them on Facebook now or find them at SeminoleFeed.com.
Horses. Piranha! Oh no! Oh, the humanity! Oh, piranha.
Veteran-owned Wide Automotive, that's W-E-I-D-E, is a beacon of automotive excellence in Ocala. Founded on integrity and expertise with unwavering dedication in all operations, we seek to forge lasting relationships with our clients. Whether you have one vehicle or a fleet, we pledge our best effort in quality service. From repairs, diagnostics, tire repair and replacement, diesel engine work, horse trailers, car batteries, wheel alignments, fuel systems, and more. Discover more at wideautomotive.com.
Peterson and Smith Equine Hospital and Complete Care seeks to be a leading international veterinary practice that provides state-of-the-art veterinary care to their patients while fostering professional relationships with their clients that stand the test of time. For 24/7 and the best in equine care, check out Peterson and Smith at petersonsmith.com or like them on Facebook now for more information.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hey, this is Buck Brannaman. You're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Thank you so much for joining us on this special edition of the Horse Talk Show, Talking Derby. And I've got my very favorite guest with me. Love having him on the show. And that is Hall of Fame turf writer Steve Haskin. Steve, thank you for being with us.
Anytime, Louisa, anytime.
I know. I love that you always come on with your wealth of wisdom for us, because there's a lot of exciting horses in this this run for the Roses this year, right?
Yeah, well, at least I have wealth with something. Not money, but if you can't have wealth with money, I guess wisdom is okay.
That's right.
Big gap, but it's still okay. Then you were saying about the Derby.
Yes, the Derby. We've got a lot of nice Ocala connections, which we always, we like to follow those, of course, since we are here in Ocala, Marion County. We love to follow those, and of course, Eddie Woods has some grads in again. Dear Eddie Woods, who's retiring from from training.
I love Eddie. I talk to him all the time.
He went out with a bang, though, Steve, because his last sale, the one before the sale we just had last week, he had a $3 million horse go through. And
$3 million?
yes, $3 million. And I think he had another just under $1.5 million in this sale last week too. So
wow.
He's definitely going out with a bang, and then having a couple of grads in the Derby and a grad in the Oaks as well is exciting.
I know.
Yeah.
Now refresh my memory. You know, I can't remember who did he have in the Derby?
He trained Rodriguez. And he also trained Citizen Bull.
Oh, well,
yeah.
Okay, Baffert and Baffert.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. The funny thing is that they're both owned by the same group. As was Madicket Road, who was in the Derby for a while. And I'm saying, well, these people, the owner, they're going to run 3 horses in the Derby, all speed horses.
I know. It's interesting, isn't it?
They have 2, but knowing Baffert, one of those will rate. He won't go head and head. That's for sure.
No. Well, I always say, and I've told Eddie Woods this before, that an Eddie Woods grad in the barn of Bob Baffert and Jimmy Barnes is hard to beat, because at Eddie Woods' farm, they get a great foundation and good training, and they come out of that with the best chance they have to be successful. And when they get in the hands of Bob Baffert, in the Derby, it's hard to beat him. So there's a really good chance that one of these 2 horses could put a really good fight in for the win. So
yeah. Citizen Bull's going to have to improve off last time, but Bob said he undertrained him. Because he thought that he was basically he's going to be his only Derby horse. Because he thought, Barnes just got knocked out in that last race, and he just really wasn't ready. He only had the 2 sprint races, and at the time, he was having problems with Rodriguez, who was losing his composure before races, and he just wasn't acting professionally. And he thought, well, it's going to be Citizen Bull. But then Rodriguez, he took the blinkers off Rodriguez, and by doing that, he made him faster. So when with Memorial, he was so professional. He ran such an incredible race that Bob said, if I knew Rodriguez was going to run that well, I would have trained Citizen Bull harder. Yeah.
I always think it's interesting when you've got several horses, 2 or 3 horses in the same race, and you're in it all with the same trainer. That's got to be really, really difficult, I think. I don't know. For me, I think it would be hard. So that's great for him, though, especially being as he's had an absence from the Derby for a bit. It's nice to.
He wants to get back.
Yes, he wants to get right back into it. So, as far as I know, and I could be wrong on this, but the last time I checked, Neoquus had made it into the top 20. And yes, and he's a Florida bred.
He will be in. If Bill does come out as expected and goes into Pat Day, then Neoquus will get in.
Yes, and I had a chance to.
Speed horse.
I know, and I had a chance to chat to Helen Barbizon at Pleasant Acres, where he was born in Williston, just north of Ocala, and she had a lot of good things to say about him. She really liked him as a good contender, in this race, and we'd be excited because he's a Florida bred,
Right. Well, he's tough. He's a tough horse. He's got speed, but he hangs around. I mean, he's running right there. He's right with everybody. He's one of those horses that you look at the first 2 finishes, and then you don't even realize that Neoquus is like a length back, and you don't even notice him. But he doesn't tire.
No, he's a pretty cool horse. Really is. So what do you think of Sandman? I'm very interested in this horse. I am definitely going to do my I gamble twice a year. I gamble at the Kentucky Derby and at the Breeders' Cup. Those are my two times that I go ahead and put a bit of money on a couple of horses just because I'm there and it's fun. But I really like Sandman. I have wanted, we call him Ocala's Mark Cassie, Hall of Fame trainer. We claim him, he's ours. And I would love for him to have a Kentucky Derby win because I think he just has so earned it. And then there's a little double connect here back to Ocala because he actually was sold out of an estate by Tom McCrocklin, and Tom had a lot of good things to say about him when I talked to him. He said he just was all class, not a typical Tappet personality. Some of them are difficult. He was not that way. He was just a really good, straightforward horse, and I don't know. He could be one to beat.
Well, let's put it this way, by the way, as I've done in the past, if he wins, I'll be calling you with phone numbers.
Hey, listen, that's more than a fair trade for all your wonderful wisdom. So.
Yeah, everybody says, "Oh, you got a great, great behind-the-scenes human interest story." I said, "Yeah, but I didn't. I got it from my Florida source."
Well, I love being your Florida source, so that's a good thing.
I mean, you gave me so much information, especially like on Rich Strike. But no, as far as Sandman, there's a lot of different elements to that horse. Mm-hmm. First off, if you're looking to bet him, okay, you're going to take a beating. He's going to be shorter than he should be.
Yes.
He's going to get bet down. People love his name. Mm-hmm. They love the fact that he's gray and beautiful. He's a gorgeous horse.
He is.
And the fact that one of his minority partners is a young kid named Griffin Johnson. I think he's only like 18, 19 years old. He has 10 million followers on TikTok.
Really?
10 million. I saw him being interviewed he's a really, really good-looking kid, and he's extremely engaging, and he captivates you. Michelle Yu, who does a lot of the commentary in big races, she was flirting with him and everything. He's so engaging. He is so passionate about horse racing, absolutely loves it, and just is so thrilled to be part of this horse. How many of those 10 million followers you think are going to bet that horse?
Oh my gosh, yes. Of course they are. So you're right. Yes, he'll get bet down.
He's going to get bet down. Now, the things that if you're going to pick him apart a little bit is the fact that in his last race was an absolute perfect setup for him. I mean, it was an absolutely blistering pace that was set up for a horse to come from way out of it. Him and Publisher and Coal Battle were the three horses that closed, and he got the absolute perfect trip. And they went so fast early and so slow late that it was just perfectly set up for a horse to come from out of it. If you're looking to find faults in him, that's one. Mm-hmm. The other is that in his last three races, he's done something goofy. In the Southwest X, he broke horribly coming out of the gate. It was all his own fault. He just broke in a tangle. He started to rear up coming out of the gate.
Going to wrap it up with Steve Haskin just for a minute for a commercial break. We'll be right back.
Larson Farms is our TV broadcast sponsor. Larson Farms, Idaho's finest alfalfa.
A new year and a new adventure with the perfect Chevy to take you anywhere. With pure power unleashed and future-forward technology, every path leads to new possibilities. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
This show is brought to you in part by DAC Vitamins and Minerals of Florida. DAC, it makes a world of difference. The Equine Performance and Innovative Centre, situated on 30 pristine acres in the horse capital of the world, is one of the finest and most complete conditioning and rehab centres for equines and canines in the nation, including an equine hyperbaric chamber, aqua pacer, water treadmill, cold water leg spa, equine swimming pool, Eurosizer, and more. Epic equine veterinarians specialising in rehab and conditioning. For more information, go to epcrehab.com or find them on social media.
Cut through the noise and distinguish your business with a custom vehicle wrap from Smash Wraps. Get noticed with eye-catching vehicle wraps that showcase your brand's identity and earn you more business. If you're looking for a custom-designed vinyl wrap for horse trailers, box trucks, cars, or pickup trucks, for a single fleet vehicle, or for 100, no job is too big for the Smash Wraps team. Make your appointment to set your business apart today. Find us on social media or at smashwraps.com. And remember, don't just wrap it, smash wrap it.
This show was brought to you in part by TT Distributors, dedicated to bringing their customers the largest selection of quality horse supplements, products, and Farrier supplies in Florida at affordable prices. Also online at ttdistributors.com.
Welcome back to the Horse Talk Show. Have you ever heard of a horse that can talk? Listen to this. With your host, Louisa Barton. She's literally in love with every horse. Presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. She's back in the saddle again. And now here's your host,
Pretty.
Louisa Barton. She's a Brit, she's got the gift of the gab, and her guests are fab.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
I'm Tick Maynard, and you're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the second half of the Horse Talk Show, presented by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Farms. They're our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louisa Barton.
I'm Dancin Pete Rodda.
And here is segment 2 with Hall of Fame turf writer Steve Haskin. Back with Steve Haskin, our Hall of Fame turf writer, for more on the Derby contenders.
Lost himself all shot, fell way back, and then rallied. He closed very well to be second, and that's what caught everybody's attention, that he was able to recover from such a horrible start. So that was number one. The next race, in the Rebel, he dropped way back because the pace was fast in that race, and he was just way too far back to win. But he did close again. But in the stretch, if you look at it head on, it was just he was just going in and out and in, and that was just like a serpentine stretch run. And then in his last start, even with a 2-length lead after making his big run, he saw a little shadow on the track and just absolutely dropped from it and just ducked sharply to the outside. You know, it looked like something had happened. So he's got to work out a little something in his head. If he runs professionally and he gets his fast pace, yeah, he can close with anyone. If you look at the two big favorites in the race, one of them obviously is Journalism, is the big favorite. The second choice is Sovereignty. Both their strengths are they're both powerhouse, come from behind horses.
Yes.
They're big time closers and relentless stretch runners. And when it comes to Sandman and Tish-tastic and Publisher and Final Gambit, all the deep closers, you're going to have to picture somehow they're going to have to catch both of those horses and outclose them. That, if you're handicapping the race, normally you'd want to look for a horse in front of those two who maybe get a perfect trip and they get to jump on them and they just can't catch them. Being caught is a little less likely. So that's the pluses and the minuses with the horse. The pluses is he is improving. He had a big jump forward in the thoroughgraph numbers, which is what I follow mostly far off over his last two races. So in that regard, again, that's another plus. But they all have pluses and minuses. You just have to see which one outweighs the others.
That's right. And then put $5 to win on every long shot.
Oh, yeah. I mean, listen, if you've done that in the last 2 years, you collected a lot of money, I'll tell you that.
I know, right? Then I actually, if I remember rightly, and I think I'm correct on this, I think Bridlewood Farm here in Ocala owns part of journalism.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
They do. They actually went in with, they go to the sales, George Isaacs and Meta Murphy, who trains all of them. They go to the sales together, and they do a lot of the groundwork for Eclipse Racing, you know, Aaron Wellman. And they usually partner up, usually buy in for like 25% of if they like the horse. And they both loved journalism, and they went in for 25%. So now she's got Sovereignty and East Avenue as well. So that's three horses coming off that farm.
Yeah, wow. And then the only other one I think I have right now with a real nice, strong Ocala connection is American Promise. And I live all the way out in the boonies, you know, in Fort McCoy, and this horse was trained out there in Fort McCoy at Woodside Ranch with Brian Rice and the team out there. So that's definitely one to keep an eye on as well. You know how we love connecting them back here.
Well, it's funny. It's funny. I was just watching all of his races and studying his past performances right before you called. He's just a horse that's bothering me. You know, I was just saying, I don't know, can Wayne pull it off that workout? Normally, I don't like the 7 weeks. It's too long.
Yeah.
But his thoroughgraph numbers went from like an 8 to a 1, so he needed extra time. And then the workout he had was like insane. Wayne worked him out of the gate, 7 furlongs and 125 and 1. And they went 22 flat, 45 and change, 57 and 4 for 5 furlongs. So Wayne is training the tar off of that horse.
Yeah, he really is.
And, you know, to work him out of the gate in company. I mean, in company, you know, by the time they got to the turn, he was 20 lengths ahead of the horse he was working with. And I can make almost the same kind of case for him as I can for Rodriguez. One thing they have in common, okay? You look at Rodriguez and you say, okay, broke his maiden, he was great, and then he threw in those 2 funky races where he lost his composure, and all of a sudden he showed that big, big improvement in his last start. American Promise was doing nothing, and he showed that monstrous improvement in that Virginia Derby. The main thing they have in common is that they are the only 2 horses in the race that are May foals.
That's right.
Especially Rodriguez, who's a May 20th foal. He's not going to turn 3 until after the Preakness.
Yes, that's right.
So you got to. I'm trying to think. Maybe these horses. Now, the thing about American Promise, he was such a big, gangly, awkward type of horse, but powerful. You know, I think I described him as a Sherman tank with 4 legs.
Well, you know, I'm gonna throw something out there. I believe that Woodside Ranch feeds Seminole Feed, and I have to tell you what, they've been making feed for nearly 100 years right here in Ocala, and they sure do make good feed, and it is solid. I mean, they call it the world's best feed, and I believe it is. It's solid, and I think that has a lot to do with, you know, their growth. And
it also has a lot to do. I don't know if Wayne uses it. But the one thing I've always noticed about Wayne's horses is that they were never skinny, number one. And number 2, they always had a shine to their coat. And the whole thing that Wayne always said is the feed that he uses.
Maybe he does.
You know?
It's good stuff.
Well, let me ask you a question, by the way. Does Brian own Woodside? What is it, Woodside?
Yes, Brian Rice owns Woodside Ranch, which is out in Fort McCoy. The Rice Horse Stables is there also now, and that is Ali Demerick of Jackie and Nick's Demerick's daughter married Brandon Rice, and they formed Rice Horse Stables, and that is actually another barn and training organization at Woodside. So both Brian Rice and Brandon and Ali are all out there, and they're all training top horses. Is there anybody else that, before we wrap it up, Steve, is there anybody else that you would like to specifically mention? Any other horses that I've kind of centered it a bit around the Ocala Marion County connections, just like I always do, but do you have any other horses that you really love?
Well, other than the 2 favorites, one thing I'm always against, by the way, and I've I've come to have to change my mind. I have no choice. But I never liked a horse going into the Derby off of 3 lifetime starts. His Todd Pletcher and Mike Rapoli was Grande.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved his race behind Rodriguez in the Wood. I thought he ran a phenomenal race. I'm going to throw 2 long shots out at you, and only for one reason. And I'm going to throw out Final Gambit, and I'm going to throw out the Japanese horse, Luxor Cafe, for the same exact reason. I have no clue what they're going to do. I have no clue how good they are. Nobody does. Nobody knows if Final Gambit is going to handle the dirt. He's never run on dirt, but he looked like an absolute monster winning the Jeff Ruby on synthetic last time. And he's actually worked really well on the dirt the 2 times that he's worked at Churchill Downs. And the Japanese horse is the only horse I've seen so far that has this explosive turn of foot. I mean, you step on the gas in that horse and he's gone, which he was in his last start. You definitely have to bet American Promise, because I'm trying to talk myself into putting a few bucks on him myself.
Yes.
Just
I
in
must.
case
I
that
must.
Virginia Derby was not a fluke.
No.
If that Virginia Derby was not a fluke, then we're dealing with a horse that could be improving immensely.
Yes. It would be.
That would be kind of cool if an American Pharaoh
wouldn't
won the
it?
Derby.
I know. I would love that. I would actually. That would be an all-round.
Luxor Cafe.
That would be a good one. Yes, I would. I'd be happy about that. Well, Steve, I want to thank you so much. You are always interesting, fascinating, a wealth of wisdom, and I know when this airs, which on the radio on 97.3, it'll be airing on the Saturday morning of the Derby, before the Derby runs.
I'm ready for the Derby right now.
Good. Well, thank you for talking Derby to me. Always so lovely to chat to you, Steve. Thank you so much.
Same here. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you. Steve Haskin,
Bye-bye.
Hall of Fame turf writer. We love having him on the show. He tells us so much. Hey, things could change between now and Derby Day, but you've got some good idea, and the horses in the run for the roses. We know it'll be the 2 most exciting minutes in sports, because it always is.
Thank you to the presenting sponsor of the second half of the Horse Talk Show, Palm Chevrolet. And our television broadcast sponsor is Larson Farms. Thank you also to our supporting sponsors, Equine Performance Innovative Center, TT Distributors, Equifencer Florida, the Florida Horse Park, Smash Wraps, The Green Pharmacist, Horse Vans, Royal Blessing Rescue, and MV Equestrian LLC.
This show is brought to you in part by Seminole Feed Stores. Seminole Feed, simply the world's best and safest feed.
Piranha! Oh no! Oh, the humanity! Oh, piranha.
Equine Therapy International offers state-of-the-art equipment to enhance your horse's performance, fitness, strength, and rehabilitation with hand-picked and proven range of products, including PEMF and massage therapy rugs, leg wraps, boots, pads, and lasers, equine water treadmills, cold saltwater spas, combi floors, dry treadmills, solariums, nebulizers, and more. For more information, go to equinetherapyint.com or find them on social media. Repair, perform, and recover with Equine Therapy International.
My name is Dr. Natalie Solomon. I formulated Equigreen with cutting-edge science and technology alongside the passion that is represented by a lifelong love of horses. I created a product that I would trust for my horses because they deserve nothing but the best for their bodies. Horses rely on us to take care of them, to love them, to respect them. This is how Equigreen came to life. Equigreen, CBD for your horse that you can trust.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
This is Charlotte Cannon, and you are listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Hi, I'm Abbey Slaven with the Horse Talk Show, brought to you by JB Golf Carts and Equine Therapy International. And this is a continuation of my chat with Floss Bish-Jones of the Longines Global Champions Tour.
And yeah, I compare it to F1.
Yeah, it is absolutely the top of the sport, and like F1, they're on the strip in Vegas, and they go to all different really unique venues. That atmosphere is there's no other tour, obviously, at all like the Global Champions Tour. So
incredible.
So cool. It must be really
very
neat.
lucky to get to feel like I'm not working every day.
Yeah, I can
That's a
imagine
big
you get to
thing for me.
travel.
Yeah.
Okay, which venue is your favorite venue?
Okay, it's tricky because they're all so different, which is also so nice. Another big part of the championship is you can't just, it's not just about winning one Grand Prix, it's about being consistent over the season and in lots of different environments. So we have grass arenas, sand arenas, huge arenas, small arenas, under lights at night, during the day, hot, cold, like all the different elements to it. So you've got to have a string of horses that, not just, okay, that horse can do that. But I do love Mexico City.
Mexico City, and that's on the grass?
Yeah.
Yes.
Huge grass arena. The facilities for the horses are amazing. And the atmosphere is just like none other.
That's really incredible.
Yeah, like 20,000 people over the weekend. It's just electric. That's a really cool one. And then obviously I think I'm a bit biased with the London event.
Also another beautiful venue.
Exactly, and it's my home event. It's just nice to see everyone, stunning show. And then I think, and I truly believe this, that there is no other event in the world like the Prague Playoffs. It is our only indoor event of the season, and it's not an event, it's a pure showcase of everything from entertainment, the sport, like you're on the course walk, and you could hear a pin drop because all the riders are so focused. And of course they're focused throughout the season, but this just feels like a completely different environment. There's over 11 million euros worth of prize money just for 4 days of show jumping.
Wow.
So the stakes are so high. And then we do this really cool thing called the Walk of Champions, which is where they enter the arena through LED boards, and like fire is going up on the sides and there's music blaring and it's just insane, and it's so cool to be behind the scenes. And when you're like lining all the riders up, everyone's there like feeling the suspense and the excitement, and you don't get that at every show. So that makes like it really special for the playoffs.
That's incredible. So do you have a list of riders that are invited? Do you go off the top in the world? How does it work to ride on the tour?
So the main kind of concept is based around the teams. So at the start of the year, we've launched 17 teams this year.
17, wow.
So each of those 17 teams can send 3 riders to each event.
Okay.
And then they compete as part of the team, but also as an individual for the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix.
And you have both going, international competition and your team competition. So like you said, they can compete in both.
So the team competition this year in the schedule is mainly on the first day. And then the second day is kind of like a small Grand Prix. It's a 150 jump off class. And then the third day is the big day of the Longines Global Champions Tour Grand Prix. But then obviously each event there is the National Federation's invites list, the FEI wildcard, and the ranking places. So yeah, it's a nice mixture.
Nice mixture.
Yeah.
That's really, really neat.
But a really unique point for us, which I think definitely helps and makes my job easier, is because we get to see the riders every weekend. You can build up a relationship with them, you can build up that trust, and they understand that we are wanting to grow the sport and we're wanting to help them and get sponsors and owners and all of that side of it and be different. And
really bring that spotlight to the sport itself.
So it's completely different from when I used to work just the one event, Royal Windsor Horse Show each year, and in the UK it was absolutely fantastic, but you only see the riders once a year. So when you're there asking them to do a silly TikTok dance, they're like, well, who are you, what is going on? But being able to build up that relationship on the tour, and kind of explain to them, look, this is gonna be a game changer if you take part. And now it's really cool seeing, like from 7 years ago when I first started to now, how open everyone is. Yeah.
That's really, really incredible. To have that whole team atmosphere, because like you said, a lot of shows are one-offs, or they might host a couple weeks, but then the circuit, on a general circuit, travels somewhere else, and you might see the same people, they might have a different schedule. So I bet that's really like a family kind of style atmosphere as you guys travel together, compete together, you're there rooting each other on. I mean, from everybody from what you do to the riders to all of the support staff as well. Like that is a really cool experience to have.
Definitely. It's a really nice feeling and vibe, and like okay, we might be a bit of a traveling circus at some points, but to go to all these different cultures and locations with everyone and explore all these new things, it's really special. And like, I'm not meant to be biased, but when you're watching the Grand Prix and someone has a fence down, you are like genuinely gutted. I have to pretend not to get excited on the kiss and cry or anything like that. But yeah, it's such an emotional connection. Also, you're so invested in it because, like I say, I don't feel like I work a day in my life. It's more just
we all wish we had that.
Exactly.
Oh my gosh,
so lucky.
That's amazing. Yeah, it's so lucky. Okay, so tell us about a day in a life. Like, what does your normal day look like? I'm sure it's not the same every day. So
definitely not.
What does it look like?
I don't think I've ever had 2 days, which is the same.
Really?
And having done it for 7 years and going back to the same locations, I think that's what makes it so cool that actually still whenever we go back, it's always so different. I have two kind of different versions. Obviously, when we're off event at home, normal office hours, so many different meetings, trying to make connections, grow the sport, move it forward.
Planning, I'm sure, takes a ton of planning.
That is the biggest thing about it all is, okay, so Mexico's next week, but I'm already thinking about Prague, which is in November, and having to organise stuff for that and get it started. So having 16 events during the year, sometimes I'll be in Mexico next week and I'll be doing meetings and sorting stuff out for an event that's happening in 5 months' time. So it's brilliant, but it's also a bit confusing. You have to remember actually, like, okay, we've still got a lot to do even though we're here in Mexico and you want to enjoy this event.
And you guys set up almost every event, right? Do you bring the arenas in? Because not every event has an arena that you're at each time.
Exactly. So yeah, like in F1 when they have the street circuits, it's a bit like that. So in Monaco, we literally pop the event up for those 3 days of the show from scratch, everything. And that's a really nice thing as well, that we try to work with as many suppliers that are the same throughout the year to make the consistency. So like our footing, that is the priority. Footing and the horses and everything with the travel, that comes first, and then everything else comes second.
Everything else. So when you're not planning and organizing, what are you doing?
At a horse show.
At a horse show. Supporting riders, being there.
No, I grew up obviously in the world of horses, and when I was younger, like every kid's dream is, oh yeah, you want to go to the Olympics. I kind of realised I was never going to do that.
Same.
Not in a million years. So I think like to be able to have found a job that mixes my social life and work as well is really unique.
That is.
So even if I wasn't working this job, I would be at all the Global Champions Tours because that is my social life. I grew up with all of the guys that are now competing on the tour. And yeah, it's pretty special.
Do you still show and compete yourself?
Yeah, so I've still got one little 15-2 stallion. He's very, very cute.
Oh my gosh, what's his name?
He's called Casper.
Casper, I love
adorable.
that. I love that.
He looks after me. I pop around the tiny stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Purely just for enjoyment. Like, it's a big thing for me. We work 7 days a week, the majority of the time, but being able to come back from a show and have that one thing where I can just decompress, ride, and I don't have as much of a social life back home because we're traveling so much.
Right.
So like all my school friends and stuff, I still try to see them as much as possible, but they don't quite understand the world we live in.
Yes, it's a totally different world, isn't it? It is.
So being able to still have my horse and still compete at the lower level, it just makes it so much better.
Get to come home, and that's just incredible. You balance both. You've got your social life, you've got the tour and powerhouse with what you do, and then you get to go show your horse and compete.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That is
absolutely amazing. I'm Abbey Slaven with the Horse Talk Show, brought to you by JB Golf Carts and Equine Therapy International. Thanks for joining us on this segment. Catch us next time to hear more about the Longines Global Champion Tour.
Thank you to the presenting sponsor of the second half of the Horse Talk Show, Palm Chevrolet. And our television broadcast sponsor is Larson Farms. Thank you also to our supporting sponsors, Equine Performance Innovative Center, TT Distributors, Equifencer Florida, the Florida Horse Park, Smash Wraps, The Green Pharmacist, Horse Vans, Royal Blessing Rescue, and MV Equestrian LLC. Ocala Dog Ranch offers a variety of services for your dog, including agility training, barn hunt training, board and train, boarding long and short term, daycare, day training, dock diving training and competitions, disc dog, swimming lessons and pool rentals, lure coursing and obedience training classes. Check out Ocala Dog Ranch at ocaladogranch.com. Ocala Dog Ranch is your home away from home for your dog and more.
This show was brought to you in part by TT Distributors, also online at ttdistributors.com.
Epic Equine Veterinarians specializing in rehab and conditioning. Royal Blessing Rescue and Farm's mission is to ensure equines recover, restore, and thrive in a peaceful and safe environment, rescuing, rehabilitating, and rehoming animals, while also encouraging equine education for all those who visit or volunteer. With homeschool class sessions, a great lesson program, a special needs program, and summer camps, Royal Blessing welcomes all. Home to breeds from miniatures to draft crosses, chickens, ducks, bunnies, peacocks, goats, and dogs, Royal Blessing provides all the nutrition and love they need. To discover more, to donate, volunteer, or participate, find Royal Blessing Rescue on Facebook.
The Pat Myers Electric team is ready to jump in and help keep your horses safe for all your current barn needs.
The Horse Talk Show broadcasts from the CEP's Equine Studios in downtown Ocala in the horse capital.
Hello, I'm Chris Cox, and you're listening to the Horse Talk Show.
Back on the final segment of the Horse Talk Show for this week, brought to you by Palm Chevrolet, your hometown Chevy experience. Thank you to Larson Farms, they're our television broadcast sponsor.
Idaho's finest alfalfa.
I'm Louise Barton.
I'm Dancin Pete Rodda.
And it's time for Dancing Pete Rodda's Tip of the Week.
Dancin Pete's Tip of the Week, brought to you by Complimentary Horsemanship. This tip is sponsored by WildlifeWorksLLC.com for your unwanted wild critters removal. Today's tip of the week is speed of learning. So lately I've been teaching people and they get frustrated because it takes them so long to get something. And I always say, look, it usually takes you about 3 sessions for you to get something. So don't get frustrated when you don't get it at the beginning. So people don't learn faster as they move forward. They have more knowledge to back it up. So I said, as long as you gain the knowledge, you're going to keep progressing. But if you're trying to keep up with the Joneses, it ain't going to work.
Never try and keep up with the Joneses.
Yes, ma'am. So
go at your pace.
Go at your pace. Right. As long as you're learning and improving 1% every day. In 100 days, that's 100% change. So don't get in the thing of trying to keep up with somebody else, or I'm stupid, I'm not getting it. Well, I know how you learn, so remember that as you progress.
Absolutely. And if you have a horse, you probably have at least one dog. So maybe you need some dog advice. Here's Neil from Ocala Dog Ranch. The Horse Talk Show goes to the dogs at Ocala Dog Ranch.
Neil Hennessy, the owner of Ocala Dog Ranch. As you may or may not know, the county is overloaded with dogs that need homes. One way that you could help if you don't want to adopt a dog is to foster a dog. The plus about fostering a dog is most rescues will pay for the food and all the vet bills. You just get the fun of owning a dog without the expense. So maybe if you've got a little bit of room in your house and you can take another dog, or maybe you just want to learn and see if you would like to have a dog, look into foster programs with some of the rescues that are around. Neil Hennessy, owner of Ocala Dog Ranch.
Hey, we're admiring your shirt, Neil. And by the way...
Super nice.
Yeah, first thing Pete noticed, did you get in that shirt? I like that shirt. The shirt looks great, Neil. And thank you for looking after our dogs so that we can head out to the Kentucky Derby. We know they'll be in the best possible hands. We'll miss them, but we know you love them. So switching it up, we got to the Derby horses in the first segment, but we didn't get to the Oaks. So we're just going to go through the Oaks because Friday is Oaks Day, and those are the 3-year-old fillies. And Mark Cassey has La Cara. Hey, listen, he could win the Derby with Sandman and the Oaks with La Cara. Wouldn't that be nice?
Woohoo!
Tenma is a Waiver Tree Stables grad that went through OBS. Oswell's Delight is also a McPeak grad in Summerfield from Dominic Brennan. Of course,
Kenny McPeak won the Derby and the Oaks last year, so he could win the Derby and the Oaks this year. Ballerino de Oro is a Nick Demerick Training Center grad. Early On is a Susan Montaigne grad. Take Charge Milady is also from Peak Stables in Summerfield. Good Cheer is an Eddie Woods grad, and 5G is an SGV Thoroughbreds grad. Maysham, I don't think is in the running, but is also a Waiver Tree.
So who would you pick?
Grad. Oh my gosh, that's hard.
Well, I'm hoping everybody listening on Saturday morning on Sky is
like,
taking notes
so
that they feel like they know something when they go to the party.
I like La Cara a lot, and I like Good Cheer. So, I mean, they're I don't know. It's so hard. La Cara and Good Cheer. There you go. Mark Cassie and Eddie Woods grads. I'll take those. Listen, if you gamble and you don't win, it's not my fault. But these are the Ocala Marion County connections to the Oaks. So we love celebrating them. That's a lot. That's 9 out of 14 in the Oaks, and that is 15 out of 20 in the Derby. So that's a lot.
So the Oaks are the girls.
Yes, 3-year-old fillies. Exciting. And all the undercard races are exciting too. And there's lots of Marion County connections in those too. So, hey, listen, we give them a great start here. And interesting little piece of information for you. Sandman has post number 17, and post 17 is the only post in the Kentucky Derby that has never won.
In history.
Yes. So Sandman's going to make history in 2 different ways here, right?
We hope.
That's right. All right, listen, since we're talking about horses running fast, how about wild horses and jumping off to Mustangs here? Listen, they're having a Mustang adoption at the Southeastern Livestock Pavilion. Stay away or you might go home with one. It happened to me. I've got the best $25 Mustang that anybody ever had, in my opinion. And they're going to be there Thursday, May 15th, Friday, May 16th, and Saturday, May 17th at the Southeastern Livestock Pavilion. If you have the right facilities and the knowledge, know-how, or know somebody that does, this is a great way to give a really good home to a wild horse or a burro. So get down there and look, even if you only come and check them out and have a look, it's lovely to see them. They're so beautiful. So that's May 15th, May 16th, and May 17th at the Southeastern Livestock Pavilion. Let's support these folks. They are trying to get great homes for these wonderful horses, and I can vouch for the fact they do make wonderful horses. True fact. Shout out for the Spark of Ocala, our very own Power Ranger, Pat Myers Electric, serving all your current needs. He is a new sponsor of our partner, the Florida Horse Park. So
wow.
Hats off to Pat Myers Electric for jumping in and supporting such a wonderful horse park. We're so fortunate to have such a great facility with places that you can ride and train and have shows and events. And I don't know if you know this or not, but Rock the Country is there on May 9th and 10th.
Oh, maybe I should call Pat and see if I can get tickets.
Hey, maybe he can get us VIP.
There you go, media passes.
Listen, we hope you enjoyed tuning in. I know it was a lot of information, but there was something I did not get a chance to mention during Clayton Wilber's segment, and that is that I did notice that they had posted Abbey Slaven, who is a very good friend to the show and who has jumped in when I'm away and done some interviews and even did What Is Show Jumping with Pete, which was great. She is a top equestrian. She's also co-owner of JB Golf Carts. She did a wonderful job jumping in for me when I was in England. And Florida Farrier Service actually shared a wonderful review that she did on them. She said, "I'm incredibly grateful to Florida Farrier Service for the outstanding care that Clayton has provided for my horses. His expertise, attention to detail, and commitment to soundness have made a tremendous difference in the health and performance of my horses' feet. Clayton takes the time to assess each horse individually, ensuring they receive the specific support they need. From corrective shoeing to routine maintenance, his work is precise, thoughtful, and always done with the horse's best interest in mind. It's rare to find someone so knowledgeable and dedicated, and I'm thankful to have him as such a trusted part of my team. I highly recommend him." So I just wanted to say that Clayton has been such a huge part, and actually Betsy from Larson Hay, my dear friend who was with me and actually helped me get Frosty to the Equine Performance Center a year or so ago, maybe longer, time flies. And Clayton was the one who actually stepped in and assisted the veterinarians in helping to get Frosty sound, and they continue to keep him sound and work with him. So we're very grateful. They have classes, all great ways to learn. So check out FloridaFarrierService.com. We got to wrap it up. We've just got less than a minute left. We'll be at the Derby. Make sure you tune in, Equus TV Network and the Horse Talk Show on Facebook, so you can learn much more about all those connections and also see the horses galloping on the track in the mornings at Churchill Downs, which is quite an experience. Whether you're in Ocala, Marion County, the horse capital of the world,
or not,
happy horsing around. Till the same time next week.
See ya.